Ever thought about where you can't go? While travel is often associated with freedom and exploration, there are places where European citizens face barriers or outright bans. Whether due to political tension, security concerns, or unstable government policies, some countries restrict or even refuse entry to Europeans. Let's take a closer look at these countries and find out why certain places are off-limits to travelers from Europe. Let's dive in. We live in a world that feels more connected than ever. From backpackers to business travelers, people from Europe are used to exploring the world without too many obstacles. But due to shifting political relationships, some countries make it challenging or even impossible for Europeans to enter. Whether it's due to historical conflicts, recent diplomatic clashes, or other factors, here are the countries that have closed or restricted their doors to European travelers. 1. North Korea. Our first stop is North Korea, one of the most isolated countries in the world. North Korea's government strictly controls access for all foreigners, and Europeans are no exception. The country's entry policies can change with little notice, especially when tensions with European countries flare up. In some instances, European nationals, particularly journalists, have been outright banned due to perceived threats to North Korea's image. Additionally, due to ongoing sanctions from the European Union, North Korea often retaliates by closing its doors to citizens from EU countries. So, while it's possible for some Europeans to visit under guided tours, the doors can shut unexpectedly, making it a risky destination. 2. Libya. Libya, a country rich in history and culture, has faced ongoing conflict and instability for over a decade. Due to the fragile security situation, Libya has imposed various travel restrictions on foreigners. Europeans, in particular, often face difficulty entering, as the Libyan government tends to restrict entry due to security concerns and strained diplomatic relationships with certain European nations. Though these restrictions are not always openly documented, Europeans have frequently been denied visas or turned away at entry points, particularly if they're affiliated with organizations seen as critical of Libya. So, while it might not be an outright ban, European travelers should expect serious challenges if they attempt to visit. 3. Syria. Syria has become synonymous with conflict in recent years. Although Syria doesn't have an official ban on European travelers, entering the country is nearly impossible. This is due to a combination of active conflict zones, security risks, and, importantly, political restrictions. The Syrian government also has limited diplomatic relationships with some European countries, which makes it difficult for European nationals to get visas or assistance in case of emergencies. If you're a European citizen planning to visit Syria, you're likely to face not only challenges entering but also serious risks to your safety. 4. Iran. While Iran is a culturally rich country and historically welcoming to tourists, Europeans have been facing increased scrutiny at the border. This is largely due to political tensions between the EU and Iran, as well as Iran's complicated relationship with Western countries. In recent years, several European tourists have reported that getting a visa was more difficult, and some were subject to lengthy questioning upon arrival. While not outright banned, Iran has become a challenging destination for Europeans due to changing visa policies and geopolitical issues. The situation is especially sensitive for Europeans with dual citizenship from certain countries, who may even face temporary detainment. 5. Algeria. Finally, we have Algeria. Algeria's policies on European travelers can be unpredictable. Certain European countries have reported travel difficulties due to fluctuating relations with Algeria, especially with nations that have differing political viewpoints. Though not a strict ban, Europeans, particularly journalists or NGO workers, have sometimes faced entry refusals, extended questioning, or even detainment. The restrictions here stem more from political tensions and security concerns than a formal policy, so it's still technically possible to visit, but caution is advised. So, why do these countries impose restrictions on Europeans? Often, it's a mix of political disagreements, security concerns, and complex historical relationships. When governments clash, travel can become restricted as a form of diplomatic retaliation or protection. It's also a way to ensure the safety of travelers, given that these countries often lack stable infrastructure or secure environments for tourists. Travel restrictions can feel frustrating, especially for those who love to explore new cultures. But as history shows, these kinds of bans and restrictions often change as diplomatic relationships shift over time. Who knows? Maybe someday, the doors to these destinations will reopen. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more content on travel, culture, and global insights. Let us know in the comments where you'd like to visit if all restrictions were lifted.